Welcome back, guys, to the channel, and today we will be discussing Vanderpump Rules. And I don't know, I'm just happy that next episode is the season finale because I'm getting sick and tired of this season. Yeah, I think I'm appreciating the Valley more. Um, I'm over Sheena, I'm over Lala, I'm over the whole BS of the season. Allegedly, we heard that the show will be on pause for them to figure out or give the cast some time to have should I say, a proper story instead of it just being about Scandival. But really and truly, I feel because Ariana will be hosting Love Island, so I think that they pretty much need her, so they have to pause because we know they always film during the summer and yeah. Um, for the episode, I probably rate the episode a 7 out of 10. Like, yeah. We continued from we saw where Ariana and Katie they were going to their shop. Anne is now working at the shop. Lisa then stops by, to check in to find out what's happening with the shop because we know the shop should have been open for a long time and it's not open as yet. So she stopped by to check in, and then the girls stated that they are not really speaking to Penny because apparently they offered her a salary plus a 10% profit from the location, which it seems like Penny wants to pretty much alter that decision or alter those terms that she agreed to originally. So that is causing some bit of a rift between Katie and Ariana and Penny. So we will see. We found out last night on Watch What Happens Live that the shop will be open finally on the 22nd of May. So only time will tell if Penny is still a part of the business. We then moved to the next scene where we saw where she visited Kyle Chan to discuss her performance at the event. We had Sandoval that stopped by. Kyle also said that he wanted Sandoval to be a part of this because, he has done his boring live shows and he basically wants him to assist with the technical parts when it comes on to performances. So he wants his expertise, and of course, he's not getting paid for it. So why not? Sheena then Sandoval then Kyle decided to bring up the altercation or the drama that happened the previous night between Sheena and Sandoval. So because he's having this event, I guess he doesn't want any drama at his event, so he wants to kind of break the ice or squash the beef before the event. Where we saw where Sandoval apologized to Sheena regarding his bringing up her past from 50 years ago. And Sheena then decides to get emotional, saying that Sandoval has been a very good friend to her and she doesn't want to choose a side, where we had Sandoval saying, why does a side need to be chosen? And then this is where we got where they finally she decided to say that she doesn't hate Sandoval, that she misses him. And this is the problem that I'm having currently with this season is I'm not saying that they should hate this dude for the entirety of their life, but this thing where you miss him and he's the greatest friend ever, and it's just bullshit to me. Like, why are we talking about this soon? Why are you so emotional with this dude that you miss him and his friendship? It was just on the reunion where he was throwing you under the bus saying that you did punch Rachel. He also stated that you weren't necessarily a friend to him. And then also just a couple nights ago, you guys had an altercation where he did throw your 50 years history in your face. So why are you so emotional saying you miss him and you don't hate him? Like, it's just, I don't know if they're just doing this for TV, or she just does not have any loyalty, or she does not have any brain cell. But it just seems as if, why are you so all of a sudden interested in a friendship with this dude? It just baffles me. It just confuses me. Like, she and Lala just irk me this season. We then get to where we saw Katie visited Lala at her place. She's getting ready for her birthday events. Lala decided to call Sandoval to let him know that he's not invited to the events, which is when she called him on FaceTime. It was the same time when Sheena and Sandoval were together. And of course, he said that Sheena is there, and she calls him to let him know that he wasn't invited to her party, and that was pretty much that. We then get to Lala's birthday event where we saw Lala asking Sheena why was she with Sandoval. And this is another thing where I'm like, here we go with the producing. Why, when you were on the phone with Sandoval and clearly we were on speaker, why didn't you just ask Sheena then and there the reason why they were together? But no, you waited until the moment that you're in a group setting with everybody to bring up the fact that Sheena was around Sandoval and to figure out why. Then we get Sheena going into this whole monologue of how she misses him. She told him that she missed him. And then we can see Ariana like very disgusted because just like me, and I'm pretty sure a couple of the audience, this dude literally just screamed at you the night before or a couple nights before and calling you how you were a mistress and bringing up your past. How is it that now you're sitting in a scene or sitting down with him, telling him that you miss him and getting all emotional? Like, it just baffles me, and I can see why Katie calls Sheena a male sympathizer. Because why is it now you are so in love with this friendship and you miss this friendship? Does that make any sense? We finally got to the scene where we finally got to meet Dan, which is Ariana's current boyfriend. She seems very happy. She seems very relaxed from what I got from the scene. She seems very intrigued in what she and Dan has. And I can appreciate that because I'm sure she definitely did after the hell she went through by dating Sandoval for 10 years. So that scene was cute. She says that she loves the fact that it's a long distance relationship. She can get to know him more instead of, if they were in the same area, it would have been probably like quick and fast, where at least now they're apart so they can get to know each other. We get to Sandoval's show where we saw James stop by, and then also Joe was at the show with, Schwartz was there. And then we got where Joe and Schwartz had their little conversation outside. We can still see that Joe is still intrigued in Schwartz, but I guess she's playing it cool as if like she does not necessarily, have any interests like that in Schwartz. But we all know like only a matter of time before she shows her true emotion and it comes back and crash in front of her face. And we believe she went on Rachel's podcast to discuss the fact that whatever BS she came up with doing that. So we all know that shit was not going to last long. We then get to the airports they were going for San Francisco. Lala says her first impression of Dan that something is off. And this is Lala again projecting. Like, she did not get sympathy as how she wanted it when she ended it with her married boyfriend at the time. She did not get these opportunities that Ariana is getting. So again, jealousy. And now it is that she has supposedly found someone that she's happy about. And for you, that is not good enough for you. Something has to be off because you personally did not get to move on so quickly with your life and still cannot because you're still hurting. So you're basically trying to figure out how is it Ariana is able to move on and find someone that is happy and treats her well. Because for you, something has to be off because I guess every man has issues. Everything has a negativity. So she has to say something is off regarding that. Tom says he's intrigued in meeting Dan, but he wants to keep very low key. And rightfully so, you should. We got to the hotel where I think Schwartz was asking him if he got to meet Dan, and then that's where Sandoval made a joke, say he probably should give Dan the lowdown, just like, Ariana did with the girl that he was talking with in a couple of episodes before. Then we got to where Schwartz says that he feels like he's ready to commit with Sandoval in being roommates, and we all know this was going to happen. Like, I was not surprised. I'm sure you guys were not surprised, but this is like a win-win for Schwartz. Like, he gets to basically be roommates again with his best friend. So I don't see him was going to be passing up this basically. I knew he was going to jump on this basically. Then we get to where they're on a boat in this bad weather and the choppy sea. I don't know how that was safe for boats with a cast and a crew to be on. But anyways, they went on this boat. We saw where after the boat, Brock and Ariana decided to have a conversation. And to me, I was like, Brock, you are not mentally there or intelligently there to have this type of conversation with Ariana, because rightfully so, Ariana basically ate you up in this conversation because you were telling her that trying to I guess excuse your behavior the day at the beach when you were trying to force a conversation between Sandoval and Ariana. And he's now trying to sugarcoat it so Ariana can understand and feel okay with Sheena wanting to be back friends with Sandoval. And rightfully so, Ariana says that she cares more about Sheena to have someone in her life who have someone basically screams at her, which would be Sandoval. And Ariana also then says that when it's a male rage, it's totally swept under the rug. It's no issue. But once it's a female rage, she needs to get her emotion in check. So why she's so angry, she needs to calm down. And rightfully so, I can agree with her. Because whenever any of these guys on the show act out or throw a tantrum, basically, it's like no big deal. It's okay. But once Ariana does it, pretty much this season, it's like it's a big problem. Why is she angry? Why is she still angry? Why is she still yelling? Why is she still throwing a fit? Back at the hotel, we saw where we had Lala in the room with Ariana, and of course, she still has to figure out what is wrong with Dan. So she decided to ask Dan that if Sandoval was to come up to say something to him, what would he do? He says he hasn't done anything to him, but he knew what he did to Ariana. And I'm sure that's still not good enough for Lala, because I see in the sneak peek where for next episode, which is supposed to be the finale, she still is asking 21 questions. So clearly she is just trying to do, and she did the same thing with Brock. When Brock just came onto the show the first season, it was the same thing. She had to drag up his history and everything, because for Lala, no guy is good. And for her, because her one did her dirty, every guy does everybody dirty. And Lala, this is where you need to know that, guess what? You knew what you get yourself into. You dated a guy who was married. Persons were talking about it. You act as if like you were smarter than them, and that was not the case. And now it is that you are pretty much now hurt by it. And this guy was doing you dirty. And because of that, you feel as if everybody is doing everybody dirty in their relationship. And this just reminds me of a couple reality shows where, because you were hurt, you feel like everybody in a relationship is being hurt as well. So you feel like you need to get everybody out of a relationship. And then you camouflage it to make it seem like you're coming from a place of care. I don't believe it's a place of care, especially how you have been operating this season. It's like you're just trying to make good TV. And you don't even care at this point who gets hurt or who gets thrown under the bus at this point. We got to the events, and this is where Schwartz says it's nice that he doesn't have to tiptoe around the group, because, you know, in the beginning of the season, persons weren't fucking with him because they knew that he was a part of the whole scandal, and he kind of knew about it. So it's nice now that he doesn't necessarily have to tiptoe. Schwartz then asks Katie for one last one-night stand. And this is where he basically clarified it by saying them going to the room, ordering food, and just sitting in the bed chatting endlessly. And Katie doesn't want any parts of that because that shit is just weird. Then we got to where we saw Sandoval then come up to Sheena and ask Sheena that if they want to go check out the view. Now, for me, this was the most awkward shit I've ever seen. Sheena gladly jumped and said, sure. Now, this dude was screaming at you the night before, a couple nights before, calling you all sorts of names, and who knows what else got edited out. And then he did a little dumbass apology at the store. And for you, that was so good because you're so intrigued in wanting to be friends with Sandoval again. And now this dude is saying, hey, let's go check out the view, which is very odd and weird. Why do we need to go check out the view? Just say, hey, let's go have a chat. And you quickly jump and went out there to have this conversation. And then Sheena, knowing how Sheena is, because she knows that shit is on camera, she wants to make it seem as if like she's coming from a good place and she's looking out for the best interests of Ariana. And she did the same thing at BravoCon when they heard that she was in the room with Sandoval. And of course, she came out and said that she was in there letting him know that he needs to stop talking about Ariana, because she knows the audience is going to chew her up alive and she's not mentally prepared to take that. So she wants to cover her ass by act as if like she's coming to Ariana's defense in having these conversations with Sandoval. And we all can see through it, Sheena. There's no need for you to pretend anymore like you're Team Ariana and you want no parts of Sandoval. We all know you want to be friends with him. At this point, you're probably all best of friends and text every day. But this thing where you're trying to come like you're coming off from a good place, I don't believe you're coming from a good place. I just think that you just need to pick you for once and just let it be known that, guess what? He did a fucked up thing, but guess what? I miss my friend and I want to be friends back with him. Take whatever wrath come with that afterwards, but just be honest in yourself and stop playing in our faces and acting as if like you really care that much about how Ariana feels and trying to protect Ariana, because we all can see through that shit. You profited so much off of Scandal, there's no more profit to be made. So guess what? Let's just repair the friendship. But I'm sure if there was more money to be made and there was more stuff coming out about this scandal, you would have been constantly talking about this on your podcast. You would be constantly profiting off of this. But because there's nothing more to talk about, there's no new revelation towards this scandal. So for you, it's like, let's get back to norm and repair our friendship. You're not being a friend. A friend is not you basically saying that I could profit off of it, and because I can't profit off of it anymore, let me just go ahead and just be friends with him because there's no more money to be made. And just simply as the podcast came out, you quickly went back to tweak your song that you claim you had for how many months prepared, to tweak it now to include a line, because again, you want to profit off of the situation. So now that you can no longer profit off the situation, now you want to be friends again. Sheena says that she knows the stuff about her mental health and that he needs to apologize for it. And then she also says at the end of the day, Ariana just wanted to make it work. And this is another thing, you're now coaching Sandoval on what he did wrong and that he needs to apologize. And if he himself cannot see what he did wrong and what he needs to apologize for, I would not think his apology, whenever it does come, is going to be genuine, because literally you are schooling him on what to say. And if that's what you have to do with someone, then guess what? The apology is not genuine. It's not coming from a good place. It's not coming from a sincere place. So what's the point of the apology? So this thing with you going around trying to tell him what to do and what he did wrong and what he needs to say, it's not helping anything. Because if I was someone receiving that apology, I would not receive it, because if this person did not tell you what you did wrong and what you need to say, you would have been carrying on with your life without apologizing or saying anything. So what are we doing here? But yeah, that was the end of the episode. Can't wait for next week for the final episode. Then we can move on to the reunion, and that will be it. But I will be back to recap V-Valley, which is currently now my number one show, which I'm enjoying watching. So let me know, guys, in the comment section what your thoughts were on the episode. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.